Morrison this morning. It seems the door is probably a little more than slightly ajar when it comes to this family perhaps staying in Australia for good.
Look, as the Prime Minister has made clear, it's part of government policy. We've always tried to put out the humanitarian needs of refugees and people seeking comfort from around the world here in Australia. What we don't want to do is go back to the previous policy of the Greens and Labor, where you had 10,000 children in detention centres. So that, I think, is very clearly at the top of mind of most members of Parliament. And the most impressive thing about Barnaby's interview was the fact he was wearing short sleeves in Tamworth early in the morning.
Well, what's the balance in allowing this family to stay and not others?
Well, circumstances. I mean, every case is different. That is, one of the difficulties of this area. I mean, I'm the son of effectively, my father came to this country effectively as a refugee. So I totally understand and empathise, and how could I do but otherwise with the circumstances of so many people who are leaving war-torn parts of the world and to come to a country like ours that is full of so much opportunity and hope. And it is incumbent upon us, as those of us who are lucky enough to be born here, to ensure that we remain that for all nations, for all people, and that we are that light on a hill. However, having said that, we don't want to go back to the situation that we had not that long ago, where under the Greens and Labor, you had 10,000 children in detention centres right around Australia. Yeah,
well, I should say I'm the son of an immigrant as well. But do you believe that this, opens up the gate? Do smugglers look at this and see an opportunity here?
Can I say that is absolutely the key of what we have to avoid. I mean, I know there are a lot of people who say, oh, you're just, and I have to say a few years ago, I was one of those people who said, people who argue that when we allow people to stay here, that this sends a signal to the people smugglers, that was exaggerated, or somehow that was not entirely what happens. But we have seen over and over again that when that happens, these sorts of situations are used almost as free advertising by what can only be described as scum of the earth. When they're not trading in drugs, they're trading in people. And I don't want to be part of any decision or anything that gives succour to those people and their evil trade.
No, true, but they also might, give people a message, go to Australia. If you make it and if you wait it out, then you might be on your path to permanent residency. I mean, is that a possibility?
Look, that's always a possibility. It's always a possibility. And when Kevin Rudd undid the Howard government border policies, we were told by those at the time that this would not result in anything bad happening. And what we found was people drowning at sea. We found people dying on their way to this country. And we found, as I've said a couple of times now, 10,000 people behind in detention centres, 10,000 children, not just people, children in detention centres. And I don't know how that helps our reputation of compassion and care, both here and around the world, when that is the result of a policy.
Do you fear any blowback electorally here?
I don't. Well, look, in my part of the world, I can only speak knowledgeably about the northern beaches of Sydney. There is no one who thinks that allowing these two children to stay is a bad idea or is not in line with our values as a nation. There are a lot of people who do worry about what you and I have been talking about, which is that that could be a starting gun
with one,
for more people coming to the gate. Yep.
Okay, just finally, Jason, we're almost out of time, but the G7 nations overnight, they've committed to net zero by 2050. We haven't. What are your thoughts on that still?
Look, I'm very hopeful that we will be able to commit to net zero by 2050 by November. I don't know that we will be able to do that. I know that Angus Taylor has got a number of programs in place that help us get there. But we're not going to do what a lot of other nations have done, which is announce net zero by 2050 in a blaze of glory, and then go back and try and work out how they're going to do it. We're going to actually have the plans in place to make sure that we can get there, so that we are not cynically making announcements. People know how we're going to do it and where we're going to do it, what the cost of it is, and what the benefits of it are. So that's what we're focused on as a government between now and November. And if we can't do it by November, we'll try and do it as quickly as we can after.
All right, Jason Falinski, appreciate that. We'll talk to you soon.